So, you're a significant world renowned neurologist who speaks 7 languages and is what can only be described as an expert when it comes to Parkinson's disease. You edit a significant journal. You've been recognized by doctors in the United Kingdom, founded a charity to support patients with Parkinson's. And on top of that, you're among the speakers on the Ontario Medical Association speakers list. So you decide to make a difference in the political landscape of Canada by starting a new party in your long time ago adopted country. A party with an approach to politics recently abandoned by two of our mainstream parties. The middle ground of the political spectrum in Canada. Hallowed territory in Canada. At exit 425.
In the main corridor of exit 425.
Local politicians to connect with families.
What are some unique challenges?
Thanks very much, Steve, for having me.
Exit 425. It's where we live. Our guest today on exit 425 is Dr. Abdul Qayyum Rana. Dr. Rana is a world-leading expert on Parkinson's disease and founded the Centrist Party of Canada. Their first candidate to run was Khalid Qureshi, a candidate in the recent by-election in Durham, and the first Centrist Party guest on exit 425. Dr. Rana, thank you for meeting me here at exit 425.
First of all, thank you for having me today. So we are all students. I consider myself a student of medicine, student of neuroscience, and student of Parkinson's. People can call us specialists, experts, whatever they like. That's their kindness, but we learn from our patients. The way we are students of medicine, I believe that we all should be students of politics as well, because the policies which are made, they affect every one of us, and the policies are made by politicians. When they make policies, they don't ask teachers or doctors or pharmacists. So therefore, it's very important that every person is involved in our political sphere, so that our voice can reach to those people who make these policies. Thank you so much for having me. We did have some candidates in 2021 election. That was our first election, and at that time we were not registered like a fully registered party. So during the process of election, we got registered.
Well, was he the first centrist party candidate in Durham?
Yes.
We'll run with that then. We'll just go with that. Dr. Rana, the Liberals have long claimed the center of the political spectrum is theirs and claim to be Canada's natural governing party. Why do we need a centrist party now? Don't we have one or two already?
Politicians, they want to they all want to claim they're centrist, because most of the Canadians are centrist people. Canadians are very moderate. Canadians are very, they are not extremists like south of us. South of us is always hyperpolarization, hyperpartisanship, and the political division is increasing. And these days the election is coming, so we can see that what is happening there. But we are different than South. So that is the reason any party like Liberal, Conservatives, they all claim that they're centrist party just because they want to take the attention of people. But everyone knows that Liberal, NDP, they're left wing, as well as Green, and Conservatives are a right wing party. So these are not centrist party, and we believe that we are the only party which is centrist.
Why not align with the United Party of Canada?
We can work with any party as long as they are committed to solve problems of Canadians and they are not extremist in their ideology. I am not very familiar with the United Party's their platform. So we will study, and if there is a synergy or alignment, we are happy to work with any party.
would you describe the Centrist Party as more classic conservative or classic liberal?
Yeah. I don't think we are either liberal or conservatives. We are more based on the pragmatic approach, practical solutions, science, and also a balance between the practical as well as what is good for Canadians.
So more of a case by case kind of situation, like
Right.
subject by subject. You're not going to say, well, we're conservative or we're socialist, and then make everything you do fit to that
Right.
description.
Right. So we look at every political issue, every political problem. So we look at the what is best for Canadians. Some people might think that we are right of center in some of the issues, and some might think we are a little bit left of center in other issues. But we have to always put the Canadians first.
So as a centrist party, in name and in declaration and practical, wow, I don't know how I'm saying this. So as a centrist party, how do you distinguish yourselves on things like the economy?
We believe in free market. So I think we need to phase out the supply management so that the prices are competitive and Canadians have a better access to the products. And also we need to increase our export. We need to increase productivity, and growth of economy is one of our key plan because economy impacts every person, every Canadian.
Taxes?
We believe in lowering taxes. We are paying very high taxes already. So on top, the governments keep on introducing new taxes such as carbon tax. So our plan is to reduce the taxes to 50%, 50% reduction of taxes on the first bracket, so that it can help many Canadians. So we have been doing some math how to compensate that loss of revenue of around $20 to $21 billion, which we will lose because which the government would lose because of lowering the taxes to 50% on the first bracket. Also, we believe that the carbon tax should be eliminated as well.
So, I mean, if you're reducing taxes but increasing the money that people have, this is kind of a real conservative sort of idea, isn't it? The idea that if people have more money in their pocket, they're going to spend it, which if there's any taxation on that spending, you're going to gain it back in that revenue.
Right. So we have to help Canadians, regular Canadian, irrespective of we might look liberal or conservative to people. And I believe that when liberals think you are conservative and when conservatives think you're liberal, I think you are on a right path.
You're, yeah, especially when you claim the name Centrist Party, right? So if everybody is disagreeing with you, there you go. But I mean, you acknowledge that on some policies you're going to look like a conservative, and on other policies you're going to look like a liberal. So,
Right.
It's fair to say that that's kind of taking a classic kind of conservative approach to taxes, right?
Right.
So, healthcare. Who's paying for healthcare?
We believe in the single payer healthcare system like we have, which is a universal healthcare system, which every person has equal access, irrespective of their income or size of their wallet. So the conservatives on the other side They are trying to bring a parallel system of the private healthcare. This has been in discussion under the Jason Kenney government in Alberta, and probably they still have that on their table. So we don't support that at all. We might look like a little bit left in that respect, or maybe liberal. So we believe that we need to improve the healthcare system. The main problems are access to family physicians and the waiting times of the specialists. I think there are several things which can be done in this respect. For example, there is a program of physician assistant. We have thousands of international medical graduates. I don't oppose having the exam. The exam should be very high standard so that we can maintain our healthcare system, the standard. But when the candidate succeeds through those exams, I think there should be a mandatory training given to them so that they can understand the Canadian healthcare system. So once they can understand it, and many of them will be happy to work as physician assistant. The compensation will be less than physicians, but they can do many things like common problems, coughs and cold, and these type of problems. This would decrease the load on the emergency departments of the hospitals, as well as it would decrease the load on the family physicians, and it will save the dollars which the health insurance like the OHIP in Ontario pays to the physicians.
And probably there would end up being a path that if that physician assistant wanted to become a full-fledged doctor, physician, there would be a path that they could follow to train to do that, correct?
Yeah. Actually, it would be easy for them to get into the system because they will have a Canadian experience, right? And they would have passed the exams. And if they go into the residency, that would be that would be helpful, and probably for them there could be the duration of residency could be decreased because they can get a credit of working as a physician assistant for some time.
On the issue of immigration, which is a hot topic right now in Canada and the United States, and probably many other countries around the world, where would the Centrist Party be in terms of immigration?
We support the immigration because Canada has been developed by immigrants. Immigrants play a vital role in small businesses and jobs and every field of life. But our immigration should be according to our market needs. I think we need to focus more on skillful immigration and the economic immigration rather than the refugee system. The first wave was, of course, the French immigrants, then the English immigrants from the Western Europe, then Eastern Europe, and then Chinese. And that was working very well. And we did have a point system, which was also bringing educated and talented people, which we need. But in last maybe a couple of decades, the immigration has gone very, there has been a reckless, policy of immigration. We have now irregular border crossers, we have refugee claims, and many of these claims may not be genuine. So we have opened our borders. So I think the number need to be cut. We believe that there should be about 1% immigration, which can fulfill the need of our workforce and the trades. But having such a high number, not only the immigration, but also we have these students, foreign students who are coming. They are also immigrants. Most of them don't go back to their countries, and they compete with our kids. Our kids who are born here, raised here, they have difficulty getting those jobs because these foreign workers are ready to work on the lower wages. So I think the immigration need to be controlled.
And defense. Your thoughts on defense?
Yeah, defense is a very complex topic. If you study Lester B. Pearson, how he approached our international policies of peacekeeping, peace promoting, peace maintaining. So also work of Brad Mulroney against the apartheid in South Africa. We used to be a very moderate, neutral. We had a justice-based, fair foreign policy. But in the last couple of decades, both governments, conservative and liberal, they have taken sides to the extent that that this, involving in the international conflicts, there are hundreds of conflicts going on all the time, right? If we start getting involved, we are putting our national security at risk. I think we need to change our foreign policy that would make us a very fair, country at the world stage, and we should be always focus on conflict resolution between the countries, peacekeeping, peace maintaining, peace promoting, and in that case, our national security will improve. But we need to spend on our defense. There's no doubt about it. We should meet the demand of 2% of the GDP, but our foreign policy, I believe, should be independent of any of our allies. So if one of our allies is being unfair or doing something which we believe, which Canadians believe that this is wrong, I think we should be able to stand up. I like Jean Chrétien's position on the Iraq war. He told U.S. that I'm not going to go with you. We are a sovereign nation, and we don't get involved in these conflicts. So I think defense, we need to strengthen our defense, but at the same time, we need to review our foreign policy because that is closely linked to our defense. Our involvement, especially, I would like to mention this, many people may not like it, but our involvement in the Ukraine-Russian conflict has been very biased. I think if we were more in the center, we don't have to get into direct confrontation with any country or any major power. We are a smaller power at the world stage, smaller or a medium-sized power.
Can I ask you about one or two more things that weren't on our list originally? One would be energy, and the other would be food security. My studies in university were around geography and soils and land capability, with a push on development, especially in southern Ontario. Food security is something that has never really been talked about. So could I introduce those to you?
Sure.
Okay, just let me ask. I don't want to waste a good answer. So another issue, and there'll be one more after this one. We'll go with energy. Where would this centrist party be in terms of the world of energy and Canada's role in it?
We have the third largest reserve of oil in our country. That's one of the biggest assets. We have huge reserve of gas, natural gas. We have about 1,383 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, and so these are biggest assets of our country. These are one of the big exports. About more than 10% of GDP comes from our natural resources, and at a global level, there are countries which are still using coal, and thousands of coal plants are being built every single year around the world. So I think the phasing out coal should be the first priority, and we are in a very good position that if we promote our natural gas and we supply, this would be very good for the climate. And at the same time, this can give us a good boost to our GDP. And at the same level, at the same time, Western Europe, which has been in crisis because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, we can help them. I think the president of Italy and the Chancellor of Germany, they already requested Canada for the natural gas, but unfortunately our government said that this is not a business case. I don't understand what is the rationale behind it, but we love to promote our natural gas and our oil industry so that first we can replace the use of the coal around the world, because the climate change is a global issue. It needs a global solution.
Mhm.
About 27% of the greenhouse gas emissions are coming from China, 18% coming from US, about 7% from India, and then Russia. Those countries have to work together to solve the issue of the climate. We believe in climate change. Yes, this is a threat to to our planet. But your economy as well as climate, they go hand in hand, right? Especially in our case, because we have so many natural resources. So we believe in developing our natural resources. So many people who are extremely left-wing may not like our position on this, but this is a practical reality that we need to promote our natural resources.
And my final issue question would be food security. And we're in southern Ontario, and around us is some of the best farmland in Canada. With all due respect to what people think of the farmland out in the west, this is far superior to what the prairies are, right? They produce a lot of food. Everybody loves the prairies, but some of the richest farmland is in southern Ontario, right where some of the biggest population growth is. And I used to tell my students the best land to grow food on is also the best land to grow houses on, because it's so easy to set them up and do all the infrastructure. My concern long term is food security. And so what are your thoughts on Canada's food security given all our development, global concerns, and the fact that we are still a northern nation?
Right. See, we need farmers and farming to feed our population. There's no doubt about this, right? And preserving our agricultural land is of utmost importance for this. Government need to support farmers, giving them loans and grants and making life easy for them. I also have a farm, although I'm not doing farming actively. So I know that how difficult it is, how expensive it is. Farmers spend so much money on their machinery, and they work very hard. And so the agricultural land should not be at all used for any development. I do believe that the development should be diversified, especially in mega cities like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and then the medium-sized cities like Calgary, Ottawa. They should prevent. They should have. There should be a limitation on developing these cities. Rather, we should develop these smaller towns, which are a little bit um, outside of these, greater Toronto area or other boundaries. What we have done is we every major project we do in these big cities. For example, if we have to have new universities or colleges or hospitals, or like the Ontario Court, in downtown, probably these could be shifted outside of Toronto, like areas like Coburg, areas like north of Newmarket, Bobcage and Peterborough, so that the load on the mega cities will decrease, the traffic will decrease, the crimes will decrease, people will move out, and the new jobs will be created in those areas, right? But again, the agriculture land should never be used for the development. The Canadian, when it comes to housing, the Canadian, although it's a provincial issue, the Canadian family size is very small. Usually we have 2 to 2.5 people living in a house. So smaller houses with especially for the seniors, so we can have low rises outside of mega cities so that they can enjoy the countryside at the same time. So look, thinking on those lines, I think would be helpful, and that would help to preserve our agricultural land also.
One of the practical realities is that we're facing a federal election very soon, and there's a giant question mark beside that because we're not quite sure when that's going to happen. Maybe you have some insights that you're unable to share, but for most of us, it's just out there. Are you prepared with candidates for all the ridings?
We have started to talk to people for the elections, because elections could probably they could be any time. I think if the elections don't happen by maybe by November, for example, I think then in winter it may not be possible, and then we're looking at either spring or maybe the next fall, which is the scheduled timing for the elections. So I think the NDP want to push the elections as far as they can, because it looks like their seats might be reduced in next election because of their agreement with Liberal. People were not happy, right? And Bloc, I don't know, their seats might increase or stay the same. So they might support the government, although they had said that on the issue of the senior pension, they were not, they were not going to support if the Liberal Party does not support them on on that issue. But anyway, so we have started nominating some of the candidates. Couple of candidates we have nominated already. One from Mississauga, one from Brampton, and we have several candidates from Calgary. They have expressed their interest. So we will nominate few candidates from Calgary, and we just had a meeting this afternoon about some of the ridings of GTA. So we'll try to nominate maximum number of candidates as we can.
Excellent. And a bigger number than you did in any previous election?
Right. Yeah. 2021 was our first election. We were not registered at that time. In that election, we had several candidates. But of course, we were just a brand new party at that time. We are still relatively a newer party.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully we will get more candidates this time.
Excellent. Even if you don't form the government, which I mean isn't likely,
Right.
what are you going to do to continue to advance the cause of the Centrist Party in the Canadian political arena?
So I always say that we don't have to be in government, or I don't have to be an MP or a prime minister, and as long as our government helps Canadians, as long as the cost of living is reduced, the crimes, there's a policy to reduce to control the crimes. The issues, some of which are the provincial issues like housing. So as long as any government helps Canadians, and their approach is practical, their approach is moderate, they are for everyone, not just for their friends and cronies. So we are happy to work with any party, and we will also, outside of Parliament, will keep on raising our voice so that the governments, their focus should be helping Canadians first. At this time, we have done so much foreign aid, we have done so much corporate subsidies that an average Canadian really is feeling the pinch.
What do you wish most of all for Canada?
I think Canada is the best country to live. There is, of course, still improvement, especially recently. The cost of living has gone up. So we want to focus on reducing cost of living, controlling crimes, which are very important. And also one of the most important thing is the national unity. So we need to unite rather than divide. And the opposition and the government need to sit down and work together so that the problems of Canadians are solved. And the opposition, just for the sake of opposition, is not a good policy.
Thank you so much for joining me today at Exit 425. How can people learn more about you or the Centrist Party, or just reach out to you?
Thank you for inviting me today. So we have a website, centristcanada.ca, CENTRIST, People can go on website. They can ask questions. They can email us through the website. Our email is contact@centristcanada.ca. So we are happy to answer any questions. People can become members of the party. They can join our federal council and all other positions.
That's awesome. Once again, thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to tell myself and all of the listeners about the Centrist Party of Canada.
You're welcome, and thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Exit 425. Please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Our mission is to provide substantial information and education that goes where you want, because it's where we live. Exit 425 is a production of Studio 38 Audio, copyright 2024. My name is Steve Ray. If you have any questions or would like more information about Exit 425, join our Exit 425 Facebook group, like the Facebook page, check out Instagram, Medium, LinkedIn, X, and TikTok, or email me at exit425401@gmail.com. Exit 425. It's where we live.